after a traumatic event, a paradigm shift, a realization that things just aren't working out as they should be or as you'd like, you might want to reassess your situation and become a different person, or maybe just change one element about yourself, or maybe change something in your surrounding, in your environment, that would require you to reassess what's going on in here. But why would you trust me with your self-development, right? Who's this guy, huh? What do I have to say about healing from trauma? Well, on the 17th of March 2019, I woke up with no memories. It was either a mental breakdown or breakthrough, or an ego death, or an epiphany that blew my mind. Whatever happened, it wiped all of my memories. Like, I woke up not even knowing my name. And so I was taken to hospital, I escaped it. I then started sort of walking around Los Angeles in a sort of big white robe, thinking that I was like a superhero, like a vigilante. I was later found by the authorities, strapped to a stretcher, and taken to a more secure location, where I spent 5 lovely days in not an asylum, but kind of an asylum. so it was honestly an amazing experience, but also quite traumatic, because I essentially disappeared. There was a moment in space and time where I did not exist, and that, however fun and romantic and exciting it is to sort of look back on, especially as a storyteller, the truth is, it was traumatic. I had a disassociation between my body and my mind, I didn't even know if I existed. I mean, I did, right? I knew that I existed because I'm experiencing, but I didn't know whether I was alive or dead. I didn't know whether I had transcended into a different dimension. And what's challenging about that is going from understanding a complex concept theoretically, and then sort of sensing it in the body. Like, it felt like my body was on high alert from everything around me, which was quite the experience. And so how do I rebuild myself? How would you rebuild yourself? Or how would you transform certain aspects of yourself for a better version of you, for a better character, for a better future? Well, I best understood the complex approach of reorganizing my life with language that I understood, by separating segments that needed work and designating them to a crew that you would find on a movie set. And these different characters were sort of brought to life through me. And by that I mean I separated different aspects that needed work, and obviously that existed, let's say, in my mind, in my brain, and then like different characters would come to life, in my one body, to engage and start implementing those elements into my life. Which sounds quite alien. It sounds, like almost multiple personality kind of experience, which it kind of was, actually. I have sort of multiple people in my head organizing my one life. Very strange. So how did I start? How would you start? Well, let me introduce to you some of the characters.
A writer's role is to express how they see themselves and the world around them, as things are today, understanding context of how events led to the present moment, and what they might want to change for the future of their character, and how that might influence their environment. In order to evolve aspects of your person, I recommend writing as much as you can about yourself. Get to know who you are. And after that cathartic release, you can start to lay some solid foundations.
Stop distracting him, he's got work to do.
Journaling is a way to express how you feel at the surface level, but you must dig deeper to ask more questions of yourself. Like, why do you feel this way? Yeah, okay, but why? Are the problems of today a projection of something that you can't let go of? A pain that's anchored in the past? And if so, what can be done about it? Like, what steps can you take from the moment you wake up in the morning to the end of the day when you go to sleep? What must your character do to change to go from the beginning of the script to the end? You might find this is a long process depending on what you need to change, blah blah blah. Write as much as you can, eventually read back what you purged on the page and highlight what you find of importance.
One piece of advice, put pencil to paper. That's not a pencil, that's a pen. The act of writing by hand is slower, right? So it gives your brain more time to formulate what it actually wants to express. And it's also visual representations that things can be rubbed out, like pages can literally burn as a physical representation of shedding these old stories and moving on. And also, you might actually want to keep these physical journals as a memento of your progress. And if you get in a good flow, you can sometimes feel like you're reading rather than writing. Like your eyes are watching your hand being controlled by something that's deeper within yourself, something behind the conscious you. And that can be a pretty magical feeling.
The visionary. That's who implements the foundations laid out by the writer and imagines what the character's life might look like. The character being you. And you. Yeah. So it's quite the job.
It can be quite a challenging process and sort of alienating to start watching yourself from a distant perspective, especially after trauma. Like, I feel simultaneously sorry for what I had to go through and grateful to have survived the chaos of it all. Experiencing this splitting sense of self because multiple versions of me wanted to be heard as we rebuilt a character that had lost everything was weird. And yeah, no wonder I needed professional psychiatric help. That's a word, isn't it? That's a hard word. The director has the responsibility to be at the top of this layered pyramid, or at the very bottom, I don't know, maybe under it. Either way, they're the watchful eye to make sure the puzzle pieces move and fit together. I tend to meditate when I consider myself as the director. I take a pause, a few breaths in and out, to reassess and see what needs to change, and then I just trust my brain to communicate with the other departments. Now that might mean going back to the writer and doing some more research or some more journaling, or follow up the rest of the crew to start amending what's necessary for the kind of story that I want to live. You'll be surprised how things come together. It has been and continues to be a marvelous experience, feeling as though I am part of this harmonious dance with the universe. But don't be fooled by the romance, like it's easier said than done. When you're constantly aware that you are behind your eyes, watching this constant stream of experience that's directly in front of your face, it's both beautiful, appreciating the details of existence, seeing how these pieces come together, but seeing elements come together so fluidly occasionally feels like you're just a puppet. Sometimes things have to flow at such a speed that I can feel myself being manipulated, and it can be challenging and occasionally quite tormenting experience, flirting with paranoia and contemplations of free will as I ponder whether decisions of my life are coming from within me or from a force outside of my being. Creating something, building someone from the ground up, and feeling a collaboration that goes beyond my own comprehension of consciousness is terrifying, exhilarating, and often euphoric. And thankfully, it is stories I watch in movies and read in books that makes me feel less alone in this overwhelming experience.
The actor. Your body is the tool, the mode of transport that carries out what actions and words the director wants you to play as you move forward in space-time, as if each new day is a turning of the page on a script. And the actor plays all the roles in this metaphorical crew that I've got going on in my head, right? So with the mind of the writer, the actor puts pen to paper. In the shoes of the director, it's the actor that steps forward. And as you consider more departments, more aspects of your life that you want to test out, it's the actor that puts it in motion. The way I've alleviated the stress of this fractured, divided, separated experience is to not judge myself through the lens of one moment. Like, I'm gonna make mistakes, because turns out, I'm not perfect! Surprise! And what's disheartening, what's annoying is, you reconstruct yourself in solitude. And when I say you, that's what I've been doing. I've reconstructed myself in solitude. I would write journals in the comfort of my own sort of space. But the only way to really know if, you know, these new aspects of your personality sort of function in society is by trying it out. And the more you care about someone, the more their words hold value. And so, you know, it can be quite challenging and quite a sort of turbulent transformation as you test new things out. You shouldn't do or be a particular person for anyone else but you. That being said, we are social creatures, and I have experienced a kind of crippling solitude that I do not care to repeat again. And so with that, I amend and I learn and I listen to the feedback that I receive. And how you ingest that information and how you then react to it, that's up to you. Application breeds transformation. Change can be difficult, man. Like, starting again is a real challenge, especially after trauma, after grief, after a great loss to your identity. But when something leaves you, generally, it's because it makes room for something new. And remember, it's easier to see the setbacks than it is to see the progress. So be gentle with yourself, be patient, be kind, and find gratitude each day as you become a rejuvenated version of yourself. Look how rejuvenated I am. Oh, did you see the spit there? I had a little bit of spittle. Also, I look rejuvenated because of this lovely light, but it's a bit bright, isn't it? Well, fucking hell. Ugh. I hope this video helped you, and if you're going through any sort of trauma, make sure that you get the right care. I'm just here to sort of share my story, and hopefully it helps, but I am not a doctor yet. I'd like to be one day, I'd like to, but not yet. I'm not a doctor, so if you need help, make sure you go get it. In the meantime, if you appreciate the videos that I make, please, I would appreciate your support. A like on the video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, comment in the section below, and if you can, do a little donation on some of the crowdfunding websites that I have in the link below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.